Nick never expected his life to change because of a simple rainstorm. He had always believed that life followed a straight line: wake up early, work hard, plan everything, avoid surprises. He moved to this new city with the same mindset, thinking he would focus only on his career and nothing else. But the evening he stepped off the bus and the sky opened up with heavy rain, everything he believed about control began to shift. He rushed into the nearest shelter he could find, which happened to be a small, warm-looking book café tucked between two tall buildings. He pushed the door open, shaking water from his hair, and looked around. Shelves of books, soft lights, and the smell of coffee filled the room. And at the counter stood a boy with a sketchbook in hand, not looking at the customers but completely lost in drawing. That boy was Noah. His hair fell slightly over his forehead, his sleeves were rolled up, and his fingertips were stained with pencil marks. He looked up only when he sensed movement near him. Their eyes met for just 3 seconds, but those seconds felt longer than anything Nick had experienced in years. Noah smiled gently, the kind that reached his eyes, and something inside Nick shifted without warning. He didn't know it yet, but this moment would replay in his mind many nights to come. Nick ordered a simple black coffee and sat at a corner table, trying to dry himself. He wasn't the type to talk to strangers unnecessarily, but he found himself stealing glances at Noah, who had returned to sketching something in his notebook. Every few minutes, Noah would brush his hair back or bite his lip in concentration, and for some reason, Nick couldn't look away. When Noah finally carried coffee to another table and passed by him, Nick felt a faint warmth rushing to his cheeks, something he hadn't felt since his teenage years. It became a routine without planning. Nick found himself returning to the cafe more often than he should have. Sometimes after work, sometimes on weekends, sometimes even when he had nothing important to do. He always told himself he was there for the quiet environment or the books or the good coffee, but deep down he knew the real reason was the boy with the sketchbook who smiled like sunshine on cloudy days. Noah, on the other hand, noticed every visit. He wasn't someone who easily trusted people. He had been disappointed, abandoned, and ignored by those he once cared for. Yet Nick seemed different. He didn't try to impress, didn't try to force conversations. He would sit quietly, reading or working on his laptop, occasionally lifting his eyes to offer a small smile. Noah found comfort in that simplicity. One evening, the cafe was nearly empty. Nick was reading while Noah was cleaning tables. Suddenly, the soft classical music playing in the background shifted to Noah's favorite song. Without thinking, Noah hummed along. Nick looked up, surprised by how gentle the sound was. "You have a nice voice," Nick said without thinking. Noah stopped, almost startled, then laughed lightly. "Only when no one's listening," he replied. That was their first real conversation. It started awkwardly but slowly grew warm. They talked about books, about music, about the city and how they both felt like they didn't completely belong anywhere yet. Nick listened carefully, something Noah wasn't used to. Noah spoke honestly, something Nick rarely encouraged anyone to do. When Nick left that night, Noah watched him go with a strange heaviness in his chest, as if something meaningful had just begun. Days turned into weeks, and their connection deepened without either of them naming it. Nick learned that Noah loved art but was too afraid to chase it professionally. Noah learned that Nick had spent years hiding his emotions under the weight of expectations. They found in each other what they didn't know they were missing. But chemistry, no matter how strong, doesn't guarantee an easy path. Nick began to struggle with feelings he didn't understand. He liked Noah more deeply than he should, but he didn't know how to express it. He felt vulnerable, uncertain, even threatened by the intensity of his emotions. He had always controlled his life, now he couldn't even control his heartbeat around someone. Noah sensed the distance but didn't know the reason. He feared abandonment again, thinking Nick was slowly pulling away. He avoided bringing it up, afraid that asking might push Nick further. This unspoken tension grew like a shadow between them. Nick visited less frequently. Noah drew less and smiled less. Weeks passed with silence and misunderstanding widening the gap. The turning point arrived unexpectedly when Noah's cafe owner announced that the rent was increasing, and the cafe might close within a month. Noah was devastated. This place wasn't just his workplace, it was his safe space, his comfort, his small world. That night, he sat alone on the cafe floor after closing, sketching the tables and shelves as if trying to preserve them. When Nick walked in, Noah didn't even lift his head. "We're closing soon," he said quietly. "For good." His voice trembled slightly, and Nick felt something heavy drop inside him. Without hesitation, Nick sat beside him on the floor. He didn't try to fix anything, didn't offer solutions at first. He simply placed a hand gently on Noah's shoulder, and Noah leaned into him as if he had been waiting for that touch for months. After a long silence, Nick said softly, "Tell me what you need. I'll help." Noah turned his face slightly, looking at Nick with tired eyes. "Why?" he whispered. "Because," Nick replied, "you matter to me. More than you think." Those words broke the last wall between them. Noah didn't cry, but his eyes softened in a way Nick had never seen. For the first time, Noah believed someone was here to stay. From that moment, things began to shift again, but this time toward clarity instead of confusion. Nick started spending more time with Noah, helping him explore options to save the café, even though neither of them was sure what the future held. What mattered was that they faced it together. One evening, after a long day of planning and searching for solutions, they sat outside the café on the sidewalk. The air was cool, the street quiet. Noah leaned back, exhausted but peaceful. "You know," he said softly, "I always thought I was too much for people. Too emotional, too unpredictable, too everything." Nick looked at him with a rare tenderness. "You're not too much," he said. "You're exactly the right amount. For me." Their eyes locked, and the world fell away. This time, Nick didn't hold back. He reached out, taking Noah's hand in his, slowly, gently, as if asking for permission. Noah's fingers curled into his, and both felt something inside them settle, finally in place. There was no dramatic confession, no sudden declaration of love. Their feelings had been growing quietly for weeks, and now they flowed naturally, without hesitation. They talked late into the night about their fears, their hopes, and what they meant to each other. Noah admitted he had been terrified of losing Nick. Nick admitted he had been terrified of feeling so deeply. They laughed at their mutual foolishness and the unnecessary distance they had created. When the cafe finally found a new investor a few weeks later and was saved from closing, they celebrated not just the survival of the place but the beginning of something they both now understood clearly. Noah would sketch while Nick worked beside him. Nick would bring new books for Noah to read. Noah would tease him about his seriousness. Nick would quietly admire Noah's gentle chaos. Their chemistry wasn't explosive. It wasn't loud. It wasn't something that happened overnight. It was slow, warm, patient, and deeply rooted, like two pieces that finally found each other after years of wandering. Nick no longer lived by strict lines. Noah no longer felt alone in his uncertainties. They had found balance in each other, a balance that wasn't perfect but was real, steady, and unforgettable. Their story became a quiet reminder that sometimes destiny doesn't come with grand gestures. Sometimes it arrives softly, in a rainy evening, in a book cafe, through someone whose smile feels like home. And when you feel that kind of connection, you don't forget it, because it changes you, completes you, and stays with you in ways words can never fully describe.